Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert business, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
On the program, we have an array of newspapers for review on this first segment of the show. Talking of Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, The Guardian, THISDAY, Vanguard, The Punch, all for review on this first segment of the show. And as we normally do on the program, we like to flag off with Nigeria's most influential, Leadership. Leadership's headline story says Edo Governorship Primary, how Presidency and twisted APC leadership orders. Edo Governorship Primary, how Presidency and twisted APC leadership orders. Confusion trace Idahosa Okpebolo Dekere's emergence as candidates in quote. Beside that, we have federal government dismisses PDP governor's call for Tinubu's resignation. Oil theft, police invite 3 Indians over arrested vessel. Again, bandits killed 12, razed 17 houses in Kaduna. Fuel scarcity looms as tanker owners withdraw vehicles today. These are the headline stories today, gracing the cover of Leadership today, Monday, February 19, 2024. And of course, with that, we move to the page 3 of the paper where we have our stand. Our stand today is on NDA at 60. That is Nigerian Defense Academy celebrates its Diamond Jubilee, marking 60 years since its founding. Of course, you want to find out more about that prestigious institution, NDA, as you log on to the website of Leadership. From our stand, we move to the back page of the paper where we have Monday column with Dakuku Peterside. Dakuku Peterside is writing on Herbert Wigwe, the things yet unsaid. Of course, you want to find out what the things are. And of course, for continuation of the headline stories, inside news pages, log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move to The Guardian. Guardian's leading story says unstable forest rate and inflation, more pain for households, firms as price gouging unsettles economy. Unstable forest rate and inflation, more pain for households, firms as price gouging unsettles economy. Of course, you have pictures of President Tinubu, Wale Edun, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, Abubakar Kyari, Yemi Kadoso, and Bashi Adewale Adeniyi underneath that headline story, which is unstable forest rate and inflation, more pain for households, firms as price gouging unsettles economy. Beneath that, we have Naira crisis to double prices of meter as manufacturers seek liberalization. Security agents intercept trucks of smuggled diverted food items at borders. Catholic bishops for Tinubu's reforms as CBN preaches hope. Expedite actions against insecurity, inflation, reps tell Tinubu. Edo APC primary stakeholders fought Uzodinma on declaration of Idahosa as winner. Tinubu violated oath of office by appointing son-in-law, says Uriwa. And lastly, certificate racketeering as an albatross of education sector. That's the news analysis that flows to page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And of course, that also concludes the review, the front page review of the Guardian newspaper. For more, log on to the website www.guardian.ng. From the Guardian, we move over to THISDAY. THISDAY's leading story says Cardo sold as CBN governor with $1.8 billion inflow last week. Nigeria's economy has positive outlook. Cardo with $1.8 billion inflow last week. Nigeria's economy has positive outlook. Akume promises living costs will drop soon. Bishops say government's reform counterproductive. Article, Nigeria has insufficient unstable precarious reserve to support free floating rate regime. Presidency berates SVP, insists facts muddled up. Naira's free fall jeopardizing my plans for Bauchi. Mohammed laments. That's the headline story on this day. And underneath that, we have news analysis. Blame game won't stop Naira's free fall. And of course, the news analysis is on page 5 of the paper. We move up to the stories above the main headline story. Idris, it's time PDP governors did work they were elected for. It's time PDP governors did work they were elected for. Says Tinubu will not abdicate his responsibilities. Opposition governors idle, viciously complicit, APC declares. Labour Party crisis gets messier as Okwara drags Aburi to court. Above the masthead of this day, we have Komulafe, Nigeria gradually reversing investment decline in oil gas industry. AFDB says rising oil prices increasing production to support Nigeria's economy in 2024. Nigeria, Brazil seek stronger ties across sectors. Tinubu da Silva meet in Addis Ababa. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of This Day, www.thisdaylive.com. From This Day, Vanguard newspaper is next on our menu, and of course today's Vanguard is leading with Ceylon hardship story, and it reads: hardship paralyzing lives nationwide. Catholic bishops CAN, that is CAN. Hardship paralyzing lives nationwide. Catholic bishops CAN. Say Nigeria in her worst of times with insecurity, economy, graft. Add hunger causing serious humanitarian crisis. Federal government working to resolve economic challenges, others, according to the SGF. And of course, we have a picture of Tinubu at summit in Addis Ababa. Underneath that picture, photo, we have food prices, face governance, federal government APC slam PDP governors. Presidency, Atiku at war over federal government's forest policy. Power grid drops to 3,530 megawatts as rationing persists nationwide. 12 die as bandits set fire on 17 houses in Kaduna village. Above the masthead of Vanguard, we have rising cost of living may lead to social unrest in Nigeria, others, according to the African Development Bank. Naira depreciation, inflation eroding value of insured assets. Operators transfer more risk to reinsurers. Capital fly through insurance to rise. Premium set to rise as operators advise inflation benchmarking. Fears of resurgence in insurance apathy looms. EDO 2024, APC gets 3 candidates. Agba threatens legal action. And in sports, 2026 World Cup qualifiers, Bafana will beat Super Eagles, Kumalo. For more on this, log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, we move to the last paper on our menu, and that is The Punch. The Punch leading stories today is still on hardship in the country. The caption says, cost of living protest. Police warn against violence as Labour gives fresh conditions. Avoid violence, police warn Labour. AFDB says hardship may lead to social unrest in Nigeria, others. Naira weakens as bank's dollar says plunge by $252 million. Naira weakens as bank's dollar says plunge by $252 million. Federal government marketers meet today. Tanker drivers insist on strike. Nigeria, Brazil plan new MOU as trade drops by $8 billion. Slain Plateau APC spokesman got 20 death threats, secretary. Slain Plateau APC spokesman got 20 death threats, according to the secretary. 15 trucks of smuggled foods intercepted in Sokoto customs. These are the headline stories today on the Punch newspaper, today Monday, February 19, 2024. For more, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. And of course, with that, we've come to the first segment of the show where we reviewed Punch headline stories. Don't forget to join in. Stay tuned for the second part of the program where our Monday guest will be talking on some trending issues. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Inside Nigeria, reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Webo, and of course, I have my Monday guest with me in the studio. He's a political economist, public affairs analyst, Aliu Elias. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Yes, away from hardship, although that is ever present.
Can we go away from hardship?
I just want us to talk about. We like call it the shambolic Guba primary that took place in Edo State. How Presidency and twisted APC leadership, all that. That's the leading story on leadership today. Of course, it was the news that trended over the weekend. What actually happened? We have a situation whereby Idahosa, Okpebolo, and Dekere emerged as candidates.
Now, it is expected, these are gladiators. If it is not well managed, this is what you will see. I think right from even the Opis or Dima, the party secretariat, even the state executive, they did not manage the situation very well. And it shows that APC is not even ready for that stage, because it's an opportunity for PDP again. Because if you're at this level, you cannot have one front person to really other support. It's a serious issue. And if you see the cases that now we have two people from the Senate and House of Rep, it's become this serious issue. And producing three candidates, and the official collation center was taken over.
Did you see the video that also trended? We saw the person, Bishop, I wouldn't want to call his name, that was doing the counting. He skipped from
300 to 500. It's quite pathetic. It's quite pathetic.
Why is the APC is still not ready to get his house?
Yeah, it's because of the gladiators, and it's so sad that people like Oshomole still exist, and this kind of thing is actually happening. If I thought you have interest, you should have managed that very well. So it is not well managed. It's a shame to APC, shame to the state APC, and even the headquarters. It's a serious problem that they need to tackle. And now, if they didn't tackle this, if they end up going to court, it's a problem. You recall that the problem in Plateau was internal problem of PDP.
Yes.
One of them took them to court, and it now caused problem for every other person. So you must manage primary very well, because that's where the politics of a gubernatorial, what have you, starts itself.
Now, Aliu, with Presidency's interest in Edo politics, Edo Guba, that is #1 seat in Edo State, do you see it as a probably a sign of what is to come during the elections?
Well, it is expected that
because the presidency didn't show interest in as much as this, even in Kogi and every other state. Now,
it is quite interesting. It is expected because we have PDP governor in Edo, so they are looking for a way to take over power from PDP. But in the course of looking for a way, don't organize themselves internally, and that's what exposes them. The issue is that even going forward now, if they later reach consensus and bring one person, it will be factionalized again.
Yes.
So the other faction might go and even join PDP or Labour Party again, because it shows that 3 candidates, no. If you take one now, what will happen to others? So it needs this very serious intervention, you know, for them to. But for me, I think APC is not getting it right, and it's a big problem for them going forward.
So what is expected of them in the fact that since they have 3 candidates now that have emerged and self-declaration, because other candidates are also threatening to go to court? We heard from former senator and former governor of Edo State, Sumbo. We also heard from Agba, who is also threatening legal action. Does this augur well for the party?
Well, if the party can maximize their internal mechanism, you know, when we say internal mechanism, before you go to court, you're supposed to really present your case to the party. If it is well managed, now how do they manage it? Is to also, if you look at these people, also they are in power already, senator and House of Rep. So now, if they could manage themselves very well, there could be a better future promises for these people, and maybe by so doing, they can compromise and say, okay, let's have a front runner that will take our interest, because it's enough to share. Like one of my leaders say that politics itself is enough to share if it is well managed.
All right, thank you so much. Now we move over to the Guardian. Guardian says unstable forest rates and inflation, more pain for households, firms as price gouging or settles economy. What can be done about it? Because we had which some media people feasted on, because the vice president said that they were going to look into this arbitrary increase of food prices and probably set up
yes, but the price control
board. However, the president came and said no, nothing of the sort was going to be done. So what can be done actually? Because we have not just inflation, we not just also skyrocketing free fall of the naira. We also have food inflation, which is at its highest. What can actually be done about the situation?
Right. If you ask me, I think it's not correct to say that government will go and fix price, because we are in a free market economy. You know, in the free market is what you buy that you sell. You have demand and supply. So government only need to work on demand and supply, and that's why when I saw, in as much as I'm a safety consumer advocate rather, that I've worked FCCPC
it's true, really
over time. When I saw FCCPC, you know, taking over locking Sahara store, I look at it very well that even in Nigeria today, we know stores that are actually abusing people, no, they are not abusing people. So sometimes you just have to do it.
But what do you also have to say about the Niger State governor, who also warned the farmers there not to sell food?
It is actually expected for him to do that, but he cannot tame them, because
they
also want more profit.
It's also compounding the issues.
It's compounding.
Your farmers should not, sell.
In fact, it is seriously compounding the issue. Look at the state. The states have big land that they can cultivate. So if they cultivate quarter of it, even they will take and it will still remain. So you should rather encourage the farmers to produce more, and it cannot work, because we are in the age of where I will get money, that's where I will go. So farmers now, instead of them selling it, they prefer to sell it across, and they will find their way of taking it out. He will not even know. That is just a thing. But it's a bad utterance. An APC governor, a governor that is seeing the economy, a governor that have not seen it to the need of people, and making mention of that. So coming back to the issue of price hike in every, I think the government need to do more. These are government fail to understand that the government must be in business. Some of them will say that there is no need for government to be in business. In fact, in economics, that's what called Keynesian theory. It says that government must always intervene by using that to control the prices. So if government is coming with its own prices, with its own goods, with its own services, it will control everything. A good example is the NNPC. NNPC is still selling at 670, while they are selling at 670.
Because when you go to NNPC,
you saw the queue, yes. But with the number of NNPC stations that we have now, they bought over, is it Oando? They should be able to use it to bring price down.
Some of these, the ones that they took over, they are still not exactly.
They are not open. That's the problem.
Even though the painting, everything.
Exactly. So if they are selling, they should have. So that's how government should come in food. Government should come in transport. Government should come come in petroleum, you know, a lot of things government need to come. Even you as US as it is, they still create subsidy and they put a control measure to make sure they tame unnecessary price. Look at our level of inflation. And I must also tell you now that the major problem Nigeria is even facing is that, do you know that we expend 70% of our salary on food only? So when you are spending your salary on food, 70%, so what will you spend on transport? What will you spend on health? What will you spend on education? What will you spend on rent? Look at all these problems. And a good economy, you must not spend more than 10% of your salary on food. That is where you can have saving, and saving can become capital. Capital can be used for investment. So now we are in serious problem that government and this money, crowd are still coming up in Ibadan to start their own protest. You remember, Onga does not know political party.
No, he doesn't.
Onga does not know if it's he or she. Onga does not know religion. Onga does not know tribe. It's becoming a common problem that every Nigerian is suffering. You know, the thing is, immediately they remove fuel subsidy. I always tell people, government has done two things to Nigerian citizens. You have increased the way you tax us, and you also reduce our income. Because most of our income are going into fuel, not even fuel now, fuel related issues. Because when you say fuel also used to do other things. So it's a serious, so they must come with a serious intervention. And another thing that is actually paining me is that if you look at FAC, they have more allocation than ever before. You know, before they used to share between 600 billion to 7. Now they're sharing about 1.2 trillion. Now, if you're sharing that money, it does not reflect in our economy at all. So is it not better you reverse one of this policy and let this thing get back to people, and people have purchasing power? There must be an urgent thing to do. People are dying. Level of people BP is very, very high. People cannot pay school fees. Someone was talking today that he used to use 500 naira to transport his children to and fro for school. Now it's used 3,000 naira. Look at the big difference. 2,500, not even double. How many percentage is that? It's about 500% different. That's a serious problem. So on our economy, we must do something very, very urgent.
Thank you so much. Now, on cost of living protest, because Labour has threatened to go on protest, go on strike over the hardship in the country. Police warn against violence as Labour gives fresh conditions. What is happening here? And of course, Vanguard also has same leading story: hardship paralyzing lives nationwide. What can be done apart from backing on protest? Would that really solve the issue?
Well, you know, without taking maybe position, I always prefer is it Osifo, the TUC president, you know, compared to NLC president. You know why? You know when you look at TUC president, it's always systematic and also economic. He have economic reasons for some of his reasons. Now, it's good that NLC wants to go to strike. Honestly, I'm in support of, because imagine somebody who collects salary of 30,000, 18,000. What will he use it to buy? What, he cannot even feed him for 2 days, 3 days. So now going to strike is not a problem. But you know, we have seen Ajero coming up like that and still, you know, reversing. So it's a serious problem. So if you want Nigeria to trust, we should just focus on it. We are not saying they should not come to round table with government, but they should also go beyond protest. Give us a possible suggestion on way forward. Last time we spoke, you were saying they may ask for 1 million naira. As an economist, it's not about 1 million. It's about the value of 1 million naira.
Many people, they actually take him serious. They were like, no, is he jesting or what? He knows that 1 million naira
is not tenable. So you can't say 1 million. You should have said value. You know, if you have 100,000 naira and it has value, so why do you have to call for 1 million naira? So it's simply because you are not ready for the bargain. Exactly. You're setting a wrong tone. Perhaps you recall that the same Umar Bago of Niger State was part of the committee, and he came out and said some of our states cannot even afford the 18,000. You are going 30,000. So they are still paying 18,000. They're not talking about 1 million. I was thinking, as an economist, from what we have studied, it should be within 150, 200,000 naira. That's minimum wage. From there, because you know why? You don't always think about government staff. Government staff, both federal and state and local government, are not up to 10 million in Nigeria. Now, for we that are private sector, working for private sector, we are over 100 million. So if you increase, what will happen? A market woman will think, since they have increased government's salary, everything should increase. And we that are more private, you know, nobody is increasing what we actually earn. It's become a serious. So I think Ajero should get more experts, you know, to really work with him. So when he's making some of his utterances, it will be much more futuristic than, you know, looking at it as if we want to go and fight. You know, they are fighting a legitimate fight, but it should be, you know, pushed in a right manner that Nigeria will appreciate.
All right, thank you so much. Now, we are still talking about trending news because what has been trending since, as far as in FCT, I wouldn't know about states across the nation, is the power outage. Almost, you know, that's trumbled or demobilized so many activities. And of course, at the time that AEDC had to apologize to people living in FCT. Vanguard has the leading story: power grid drops to 3,530 megawatts as rationing persists nationwide. Now, I don't know what's happening in your area. Probably you have lights.
Well, in the issue of electricity, I think the whole FCT is suffering it.
Yes.
And it's come at a time where fuel is much very, very expensive. You know, if you look at fuel, you can't even afford that you want to use the fuel overnight. You know, it's before you. So I think the issue of electricity has been overflowed and there is no solution. I don't know. So for me, they should continue to unbundle these people, because you know now AEDC now will be saying that they're not generating enough. Perhaps you recall that the Minister of Power also came up and said they want to remove subsidy from electricity. This is that we don't even have. I think they should work on making sure that we have good electricity. Now look at what is happening in FCT. It's become pretty, and it's come at a time where we have heat, very serious heat period. You know, in my we are just discussing it. Why is it like this? Why is it now that we're having issues? So I think government, if you want development in Nigeria, energy security remains a very important tool. You know, what we use energy to do is very, very big, that you cannot even say you want to compromise. I think if Tinubu government can only do electricity for us, I think you should focus on electricity and do. Take it or leave it. Buhari said he's doing road. To some extent we have seen, you also bring something, focus on electricity and make sure, because with electricity we have our industry functioning, manufacturing will function, we'll have good work, we'll have well-being, MSME will work, everything will work very well. So I think we should do more on energy security. Without energy security, both in power, both in terms of fuel and both in terms of electricity, we will go nowhere. So we have to invest more, deliberate. And for me, I don't know how equipped this our Minister of Power is. We always need somebody who really understand the challenges, and that's why some of us are saying, we wish Elufai would have come to be the Minister of Power, because we have seen, even irrespective of his own personality, we have seen anything he touch, he makes sure he give it fine finishing. So I think we need somebody that will give us fine finishing, not somebody that will come and be telling us on TV that they are going to remove electricity subsidy. It's not a good omen for us. It's a bad disposition from him.
All right. But the president actually also signed the Electricity Act into law, where electricity is now unbundled. What is happening to state governors? I thought they were going to jump on the bandwagon and see how they can also start generating their own electricity.
I recall, I think Southwest have come together that they are going to work on a joint one, and I expect is it Niger Delta to also come. I expect please, like you here, can also come. You know, this is what we need to do. Let us unbundle everything, not only in paper, because that is still in paper. So this is what they should even go and borrow money for. You know, it makes a lot of because sometimes it's not the money you gain in electricity directly that you invest in. No, but what happens around, just like when we have a good rail might not even pay back the debt, but you know, every Sunday, a lot of things will benefit. So I think all these people should start. A state governor, a rich state like Delta should have its own electricity. A rich state like Kano, like Lagos, should have their own electricity. Even my dear Kogi can also dare it. It's not a big thing, because the more you have it, the more industry will locate you. And that's why most of industry are going down to Ghana. In fact, I was in one, I discovered that they are producing Volkswagen, and they have 13 million people. And I want that 13 million. I'm not sure 500,000. No, in Rwanda. Okay, I'm not sure 500,000 can afford new car in Rwanda. Yes. But Nigeria, we have over 20 million that can afford those cars, and they are there. Don't blame them. There is no infrastructure for them to come and invest. So until we start attracting them, FDI will now come, then development will come. So I think Tinubu government must make sure we provide the enabling infrastructure for development in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so very much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Not just before we go, APC, that is the ruling power, the ruling party in power, and the opposition, main opposition party, PDP, has been immersed in wars over the hardship currently facing the country. And of course, news analysis on this day today said blame game won't stop Nigeria's free fall. What's actually the situation? Because PDP will throw his own and APC will say no, this is not the way to go. You are not to tell us. Like Vanguard, face governance, federal government, APC slam PDP government. It's also the stories that is making demands in other papers. Is how do you call it? Is a critique. Positive critique, is it good for the economy?
Very, very good. A government that doesn't allow critique will never grow, because it's out of that critique, that you get a good governance. Perhaps they are even doing it better. During APC was taking it on to even propaganda. Because I remember Lai Mohammed, he was just telling me, he was not. So for me, I think what PDP is doing is fine, but we want them to do it with research. Sometimes when you are coming with a critique, do your own research, profile solution. Condemn where you are supposed to condemn and give a way forward. I think that's what we should do, and it shouldn't stop at PDP. What is Labour Party doing? And that's my major problem. Labour Party came with that hope for Nigeria. We have about 40 something of them in National Assembly.
And
we have not seen the impact. A controversy over politics, over party politics issues. So I don't know why it's like that. So I think they did not get it right. Maybe they should look at overhauling their leadership. It's very, very key, because
yes,
complain here is a sign that there's something actually going wrong. So I think Peter Obi should lead them well, because I think he is still the face of that political party, and I'm sure he would like to contest a next election too. So for him to contest next election, he must do the appropriate structure, because you know why? I discovered that Peter Obi is interested in showing up at every event. He's not interested in developing the party itself. Any party that does not have structure can never emerge. So for him now, for me, he should work more on the structure of political party. Let it go into the north and make sure Labour Party is strong in Kano, strong in Jigawa, strong in Lagos, strong in everywhere, so that you can get the appropriate vote that you actually expect. Because if you even look at the last election, I'm not sure they win in 25 states. So how will you even emerge president? So they need to do more internally to make sure Labour Party is what we expect. Especially they should challenge those people in National Assembly. We have not heard from them. Perhaps maybe they are a mesh in the usual National Assembly issues.
Well, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. And of course, just like what you said, party shows. There's is it cartoon or joke that don't make noise, we are eating.
We are eating. I don't make noise, we are eating.
The Labour Party guys
are part of that.
Are part of the table. Obviously, this is where we end today's Inside Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. And you, Elias, look forward to having you same time next week. So, viewers, this is where we draw the curtain. Don't forget to join us at 12 for News at Noon. My name is Winifred Ogbebo. See you then. Bye.
For watching.
This is good. I always have you.
080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last